Hello, and welcome back to the Collegian Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm David O'Brien.
And I'm Kylie McGovern. Welcome back to the pod. Today we are here with Leah Brown. Leah, if you want to give a little introduction.
Hi, I'm Leah. I'm a junior political science and criminal justice major here at Salle University, and I'm super excited to talk to you guys today.
Happy to have you here.
Yes. Where are you from, Leah?
I'm from Lorton, Virginia.
So how did you end up here at LaSalle?
Actually, my Aunt Rose and my Aunt Robin were past LaSalle University students, so I feel like I kind of have a history of LaSalle here, and so when I was looking for colleges, they were like, why don't you check out LaSalle? And when I came here and toured, I really enjoyed it, so it was nice having a little piece of history here at LaSalle as well.
Do you prefer, or are you more annoyed by how far away it is from home?
I think it was a good thing, actually, to get outside of Virginia. My community there is a little bit small, so it was nice to branch out and kind of meet new people, from the tri-state area and kind of get accustomed to a new city.
Yeah. And you said that you liked this aspect of history you had at LaSalle, and I feel like all of the things you do on campus are kind of like paving a new history for yourself. And I know last semester you worked on some research, independent student research. If you want to tell us a little bit about that.
So last semester, I did a semester-long independent research study with Dr. Taylor in the Criminal Justice Department. So I did an independent study on restorative justice properties in education, but specifically in the Philadelphia area. So I analyzed the Philadelphia School Board's principles and their rules for all of their schools, and kind of analyze them and seeing how they would benefit from, instead of having zero tolerance policies, how much better it could be using restorative justice policies instead.
Very interesting. So did you do any field research? Did you go to any of these schools? Do you mind walking us through your entire process, how you got this idea?
Yeah, so being a criminal justice major, something that I've always been super interested in was a school-to-prison pipeline and how easy it is for specifically inner city minorities to go to prison just because of how kind of corrupted the school systems are in the city and how much lack of funding they get. Therefore, it kind of transpires into the faculty and the amount of energy everyone puts into them, and the output of that most of the time is students that have a lot of backlash or maybe aggressiveness towards the school system. So I kind of wanted to analyze that and see how that kind of transpires. So I did a lot of this through reading through different case studies and forming my own conclusions based upon the school board's rules. And what I kind of concluded from that is that a lot of the Philadelphia School Board does actually have the restorative justice policies in their rule book, but they aren't enforced throughout the school systems.
Very interesting. What are some ways that these rules could actually be enforced, if at all,
A lot of it is actually through faculty and actually taking them and using them. For example, not having so many zero tolerance policies. So zero tolerance policies are basically rules where if a student does something a certain amount of times, it automatically calls for suspension or expulsion, and there's no real space for remediation. So you two might be familiar with a 3-strike rule. So if a student is sent to the principal office 3 times, they're automatically up for suspension. And as soon as a child is suspended or expelled, their percentage for more than likely going into the criminal justice system is extremely increased. So as much as it seems like a small suspension or something is very minuscule, to a child in the inner city, that's kind of all someone needs to really just go down the wrong beaten path. So small things like that are pretty important. So kind of just giving children a chance with the faculty and actually having restorative justice properties, which is having a remediation period to talk about what you did wrong instead of a suspension, or doing an after school program to kind of teach children how to go about things a different way instead of fighting. How about talking to someone, small things like that. Conversations is all restorative justice policies, but the thing is, a lot of school systems aren't putting the time into the children because they have so many other things that they're trying to handle as well.
So would you say that schools need to have less of a burden in dealing with a lot of these situations? Because you just said they have a lot of other responsibilities that they have to focus on. And if so, where would these other responsibilities be kind of like pushed off to or handed over to?
I think one of the real problems is that schools need more faculty to handle some of these situations. Like when I was reading over these case studies, some of these schools had one case manager for the whole school district handling social work.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Yeah, so to have one person looking over all of these children, some, aren't having meals at home or having issues at school, they're not getting any personalized, they're not getting any I'm sorry, the word is not coming, but they're not getting any personalization. They may check in with you one day and then you won't hear from them in a month span of time. And throughout those couple months, fights happen or suspensions or expulsions. There's no one looking out for them. So I think what I did find is that really employing more people, and a lot of the budget is really going towards security and police officers within the schools, investing in metal detectors and things like that. But what you find is that a lot of this just makes the children feel very criminalized and kind of treating them like bad people from the beginning, when in reality, if the school board kind of just invested in other areas such as counselors, social workers, caseworkers, then, like you said, David, like those responsibilities will be pushed into other areas for people, with those specializations to handle, and then other issues within the school could actually be handled with the right faculty members.
This is very interesting. David and I are learning about like the juvenile criminal justice system in one of our classes. So like this is just so many links. But I feel like you were just explaining this, like this kind of issue is so like multifaceted that there's like no easy fix besides like I guess people with like a passion that like a bunch of people want to go work in schools and like sort this out.
Would you ever work in schools? Like but is that a future you want for yourself?
As a social worker, I didn't consider it working in the school system, but I do eventually want to try to do some sort of like nonprofit working for incarcerated people, or like kind of helping that, transitional period from the school to prison pipeline. As you mentioned, Kylie, which is only a small part of the like criminal justice system, which is crazy because there's so many different areas, but kind of to help that transitional period for children, which I think is so important, like having different activities for them to put into just different areas to kind of show them that there's so many like other opportunities besides, going down the wrong path, which is a lot easier than it may seem. But social work is definitely really important. I definitely applaud anyone, and I know LaSalle has a really good social work program that's involved in it. I actually recently just got an internship working for the Philadelphia Prison Society.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes,
Thank you.
Very interesting and exciting.
Yeah, so I'll be working with them in the summer as a liaison between incarcerated individuals in the Philadelphia County Prison, and working with their families and stuff. So I'm pretty excited.
I would like just to say, my old boss, she was an intern there as well, and she said it was like a life-changing experience. So I hope you feel the same way after working there.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. I know another thing you're involved with is All Women Every Color, and today being International Women's Day, if you want to tell us a little bit about that, it's like recently started here at LaSalle.
The All Women of Every Color is headed by Jua Brooks and AC Berry, which are our social representative and philanthropic representative. My role on AWC is I'm an executive on the philanthropic board, so I'm under AC, and so I kind of try to make a lot of volunteer opportunities at LaSalle. So something that AC just did was the LaSalle Save program, working to help collect different feminine products and everyday like personal items. But AWEC is a great like upcoming club for LaSalle. I'm really excited. We bring together a lot of women of color on campus to kind of try to field a safe space for women to kind of share their experiences on campus. So we've had different girl talks, talking about different issues about how women feel on campus, and them sharing their various experiences. Currently, I'm trying to do a partnership with No More Secrets, which is a feminine product organization here in Philly, on Germantown Avenue, that helps distribute feminine products to women in need. So we're going to partner with No More Secrets pretty soon and try to do some fundraising for them, which I'm pretty excited for.
That's very exciting. I just thought about this question, how you were talking about how you guys like come together to talk about, I guess, being a female at LaSalle. Do you have like kind of like just to show like the duality of like, I guess, being a woman on this campus? Like, do you have like one experience where you felt like really empowered as a female, and then like another experience where you like didn't? I don't know if you don't mind sharing.
I'm trying to think. Sorry, I'm thinking.
No, that's totally fine.
I guess a very empowering moment for me as a woman on campus was working on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Board for LaSalle. So that was a pretty good position that I was really excited to be a part of, working on like the climate change survey and things like that. Just trying to build like a stronger agenda for more inclusivity on LaSalle's campus. A not so empowering moment at LaSalle. I couldn't really think besides maybe like interpersonal relationships outside of school, but as far as like my treatment on the campus, I don't think that I've ever run into a situation that was like bad that I can remember, which is probably okay.
Yes,
it's pretty
yeah,
good.
I'm relieved and happy to hear that. I would definitely like agree that like anything like that was like primarily like interpersonal. It was like outside of the classroom, outside of like activities.
Right.
So, yeah. David, anything you want to say?
So you're involved in a lot of activities outside of school. You're a double major. How do you balance all of this?
Time management. It's crazy because sometimes when I talk about all the things that I do, people are like, wow, like you do so much, but it's so built into my routine that I don't even like recognize that I'm always doing so much. But I think one thing that I've picked up that's been the biggest change for me this semester is that I started working again. At first, I was really just volunteering, which was okay because it wasn't every single day all the time, but incorporating work into my school schedule has been a big challenge for me. But I think it's kind of, for me, it's been recognizing like when I can't do certain activities with my friends and stuff outside of school, like having to put my like school work first and then just making time and building a schedule. Like my planner has been my best friend this semester, just kind of like making sure I write down my shifts and like when things are due, because at first like I was really struggling because I was like, this is a lot, trying to work like 25 hours a week, which some people do full time and school. I don't know how they do it. But yeah, just a lot of time management and a lot of late nights and early mornings.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I'm sure it pays off most of the time.
Sounds like it. You get to go to bed each night knowing you're doing a lot of great things for the community. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite nonprofit that I've been working for right now is a meal service prep that I work for at Prevention Point in Kensington. So I do food distribution there for Saturday. Like I go usually Fridays and Saturdays, but they go throughout the week. Which has been a very rewarding experience, meeting a lot of people who I've had, like, went down a lot of different life paths. And it's been very interesting to kind of meet so many different personalities and kind of just build up my personal relations with people, like, in all different areas. And I think my favorite thing working with homeless people actually is, like, their animals. Like, a lot of people bring their dogs and their cats and stuff, so it's been so fun actually, like bringing food for them, and actually I buy food for their animals as well because
that's so nice.
Yeah.
Because I have 4 dogs at home, so
oh wow.
Yeah, so I really like when I see a dog, I'm like, let me go to my car, like I have food for you. So it's been really fun actually.
That's so generous. I wouldn't have even like that wouldn't have clicked for me. I would have been like, oh look, a puppy. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just have one more question. You said that your desire to like help communities has always kind of been there. Well, this is more than one question. I do that a lot, sorry. was there anything that specifically inspired you to get more involved with your community? And then also, has anything at LaSalle helped push you more towards doing that, or is it just kind of been like you're doing it, and then LaSalle is just kind of like there?
So I think actually coming to LaSalle, and LaSalle is a pretty big community service school. I didn't even realize how many programs we have that help like different areas, like any area that you're interested in, environment, homeless people, like climate change. We have a club or a program for it that helps like service that area. So I think coming to LaSalle and seeing their drive to help, the outside community just helped me kind of want to look for and expand on those different areas that I care about. But since I was little, I've always kind of had an inkling to kind of help like the Black community specifically, but homeless people is a huge is a huge a huge thing that I like to help. And then also incarcerated people, like the criminal justice system has been two things that I've always been interested in. But since I'm older now, like I have the area and the knowledge to know where I can actually help, like the research study, for example, like I was able to kind of get out a lot of information that I personally wanted a lot of people to understand and know about. Because even in the area of race, you can't always push that out, unless you're under that kind of supervision to do so. You can't just push out race theory in every area unless it's warranted. But I was able to be I was in the space to be able to do that and push that agenda. And also for homeless people, sometimes for meal service prep, you have to be like 18 to even do it individually, or else you have to do it like within a group. So now that like I was older, I was able to kind of find a community that I wanted to do that with. And specifically Kensington is kind of overlooked just because of like a lot of the problems and issues that they face. So I felt like that would be a really good area for me to go into, because I'm not really judgmental, like things don't scare me. So, it was a good area for me. And they're great people. It's a great organization. So.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that LaSalle has made a good home for you, and I'm sure many of the people in the area and also at LaSalle are very happy that you chose it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad we got to talk to you today, Leah. We were, like, trying to figure out who we wanted to have on as a guest, and I was like, Leah Brown.
Yeah.
So, everything you've said has been very inspiring, but also so genuine, and I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you for coming. This has been incredibly informative. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for asking to meet with me. I really appreciate it. And you two are doing an amazing job, talking about LaSalle and meeting with so many, student body and faculty. And it's amazing, the pod. So I'm really proud of you two as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Well,
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Well, if you have any questions, comments, or connections, you can always feel free to email us at o'briend10@lasalle.edu.
And McGovern K8 at lasalle.edu. If you're interested in coming on, send us an email. Thanks so much, everybody.
Have a good one.